Okay, so these are the second set of note cards. Here's the first one. Here's the front. Here's the back. Front reads, "It's a Baldwin moment," a colleague says to me in spring of 2016. And on the back, I said, "Baldwin's impact on the college population is still relevant today." So this was in source number 4 right here, and it was talking about how it's the perspective of these college professors, and they're watching these Black Power movements going on right now in the schools and stuff, and they're making the comments of they're referring to Baldwin, so it's like an allusion to Baldwin in the source that I was reading. Here's the second card that comes from the same source. Here's the front. Here is the back. Front reads, "The students are reading Baldwin, quoting Baldwin, rediscovering Baldwin." And on the back, I put Baldwin's stories still have significant value to today's issues. So the fact that students are they're taking a look at what Baldwin had to say about dehumanization and what his views were on the treatment of black people in society. It just goes to show how relevant his work is today. So here's the next note card. Here's the front. Here's the back. Front reads, "White nationalism was the basis of European slavery, and eventually, when slavery reached a saturation point, white nationalism invented another form of slavery called colonialism." And on the back, I put, "Conquering other civilizations became necessary for European economies to thrive." And basically, I chose a source that talked about this for basically context, building up to how slavery ended up happening and what the repercussions of slavery is, and how black people are still tied to the past of slavery and treated as if they're lesser than human because of that. So here's the next card. Here's the front. Here's the back. This comes from source 5 as well. It says, "Throughout the last 4.5 centuries, racism and white supremacy have continually threatened the existence of African people before, during, and after enslavement." So this goes back to what I was talking about before. Black people cannot escape their enslaved ancestors' past in America. And I think that really it heavily relates with Going to Meet the Man, um, the story about the guy who's in France and how I mean there was a specific conversation where he was talking about that with the director about how black people can't really escape their past, but white people, European people, believe that they're entitled to. Here is the next note card. Here's the front. Here's the back. Front reads, this is from source 5, "These threats have forced Africans to modify their beliefs, thoughts, and behaviors in order to survive on a planet where they are regarded as third world people." And on the back I put, "Pressure to assimilate made Africans target or forget their heritage." So in coming to America and their ancestors, African slaves, they were forced to assimilate over time in order to survive in this white world, and in doing that, they lost a lot of their culture and identity, and basically became whitewashed. And this will bring me to my next point on these next note cards. Here's the front. Here's the back. Source 6: "The Black Power movement inspired and educated black people about Africa, um, democratic pluralism, and the libertary function of art." And on the back of that, I put, "Black Power." The Black Power movement created a new sense of identity in black people. It's very important. Before, they didn't really have a sense of identity because of all this assimilation, but the Black Power movement reinstilled these values of they are a united people. They didn't come here by choice, but they're here, and their culture. They need to be proud of being black instead of feel ashamed and because of the dehumanization that's going on in America. Here's the next note card. Here's the front. Here's the back. Front reads, "During the late 1960s and early 1970s, greater access to education and employment opportunities for African Americans coincided with the dominance of black power politics and ideology." The back I put, "Blacks began demanding better positions in society based on this new sense of identity." So since they've pretty much it's the Black Power movement, they're regaining their power as a people, and identifying that they are a separate people from this white supremacistic, if that's a word, society, by understanding that they're more than this third world perceived people. They basically are taking power back. They're demanding better jobs. They're demanding better pay because they're finally seeing their self-worth in understanding that they are a separate people and that they have their own culture. And here's the last note card right here from source 6. Because the Black Power movement has been marginalized in the sociological study of social movements, its impacts have been underestimated, while Black culture transformation it ushered in as critically important. The movement also had significant institutional outcomes. And on the back I put, not only did this movement give blacks a new view on identity, but also the confidence to demand change in their communities. So that just goes back to the theme of in discovering their new identities, it gave them the confidence to start rising up. And it's very relevant to Baldwin's stories because this is the context of Baldwin's stories. These black people being dehumanized because of their past as slaves, Jim Crow laws. It makes me think of Going to Meet the Man in that story with Jesse when they were burning the black man and they were torturing him, dehumanizing him. They had to cut his genitals off to dehumanize him so that they could justify killing him. All these things are being manifested, and it's this built-up resentment that they didn't know, they didn't have the confidence to express until the Black Power movement gave them back their identities that by assimilating in America they lost. So that's all my note cards for now, and there you go.